The first time someone told Adrian Cole, no, the entire room went silent. It happened on a bright Monday morning in the glass-walled conference room of Cole Enterprises. Sunlight spilled over the polished table where executives sat waiting for his decision. Adrian was used to that silence. He was used to people hanging on his words, nodding before he even finished speaking. At 36, he was rich, powerful, confident, and terrifyingly charming. From childhood through adulthood, doors had opened for him without effort. Teachers praised him, investors trusted him, and women adored him. No one ever said no to Adrian Cole. Until that day. Her name was Maya Torres. She was new to the company, recently hired as a project consultant, and Adrian barely noticed her at first. She wasn't flashy or loud. She didn't try to impress him like everyone else. She sat quietly at the far end of the table, taking notes while the others laughed at his jokes and rushed to agree with his ideas. Adrian proposed a bold plan to shut down a small community outreach program his company had funded for years. It wasn't profitable, and to him, that meant it wasn't necessary. He expected the usual chorus of approval. Instead, Maya cleared her throat. "I don't think that's a good idea," she said calmly. The room froze. Adrian blinked, genuinely confused. "Excuse me, I said I don't think we should cancel it," she repeated, meeting his eyes without fear. "That program supports hundreds of families. Cutting it would hurt real people. There are other ways to reduce costs." No one had ever spoken to him like that. Especially not an employee, especially not in public. Adrian felt something unfamiliar tighten in his chest, anger mixed with disbelief. He smiled the kind of smile people used when they wanted to appear polite while planning revenge. "Thank you for your input," he said coldly. "But the decision is final." Maya didn't back down. "With respect, sir, I disagree." That was the moment everything changed. For days afterward, Adrian couldn't stop thinking about her. Not because he admired her. At least, that's what he told himself, but because he was irritated. Who did she think she was? He was Adrian Cole. No one challenged him. He asked around about her and learned she had grown up in a working-class neighborhood, had put herself through school, and had joined the company not for money, but because she believed in its mission. She volunteered on weekends, cared deeply about people, and wasn't impressed by titles. That only annoyed him more. Determined to prove her wrong, Adrian started reviewing the outreach program personally. He expected to find waste and inefficiency. Instead, he found stories, letters from single mothers who received childcare help, from teenagers who stayed in school because of scholarships, from elderly people who depended on the company-funded clinic. For the first time in his career, Adrian hesitated. He called another meeting and announced the program would stay. Everyone applauded his generosity, everyone except Maya. Afterward, she approached him in the hallway. "You made the right decision," she said. "Don't get used to it," he replied. She smiled slightly. "I won't." Despite himself, Adrian began seeking her out. He invited her to meetings, asked for her opinions, even when he didn't like them. She never flattered him. She never agreed just to please him. And slowly, he realized something unsettling. He respected her. Weeks turned into months. Adrian found excuses to walk past her office. He started looking forward to her honest, straightforward comments. She treated him like a normal human being instead of a king, and strangely, he liked it. One evening, working late, he found her still at her desk. "You don't have to stay this late," he said. "I know," she answered, smiling. "But I want to." He surprised himself by asking, "Can I buy you dinner?" Maya studied him for a moment. "As my boss or as a person?" "Just as Adrian," she agreed. Over dinner, he learned about her life, her struggles, her dreams, the way she measured success not in money but in kindness. No one had ever spoken to him so openly. Most people told him what he wanted to hear. Maya told him the truth. Adrian began to realize how lonely his life had been. Surrounded by admirers, yet known by no one. Falling in love with her was not part of his plan. But it happened anyway. He started changing without noticing. He listened more. He shouted less. He thought about consequences instead of profits. His employees noticed the difference. So did the board of directors. And then came the crisis. A major investor offered Adrian a deal that would double his fortune, but required cutting thousands of jobs. It was the kind of ruthless business move he would have accepted without hesitation in the past. He called Maya into his office and told her about it. She looked at him quietly and said, "Don't do it. Everyone else says I should," Adrian replied. I'm not everyone else. He paced the room. This could make me one of the richest men in the country. And what would it cost? She asked softly. He didn't answer. That night, Adrian sat alone in his penthouse apartment, staring at the city below. He thought about the man he used to be, the man who believed power meant never hearing the word no. And he thought about the woman who had dared to say it. The next morning, he rejected the deal. The board was furious. Investors complained. The media questioned his judgment. For the first time in his life, Adrian Cole was criticized instead of praised. But when Maya walked into his office and smiled at him with pride, he knew he had chosen correctly. You did something brave, she said. No, Adrian replied. You taught me how. He realized then that real strength wasn't forcing the world to obey you. It was having the courage to listen to the truth, even when it was uncomfortable. Months later, Adrian announced new company policies focused on employee welfare and community support. Profits grew more slowly, but loyalty and respect grew faster. People no longer feared him, they trusted him. And on a quiet evening, standing under the same city lights where he once felt so alone, Adrian took Maya's hand and asked her to marry him. This time, when she said yes, it meant more than all the easy agreements he had ever received. Because the most powerful word Adrian Cole ever heard wasn't yes. It was no, and the most unexpected woman who dared to say it changed his life forever. From that day on, he understood a simple, beautiful truth. Sometimes the people brave enough to challenge us are the ones who save us. And sometimes, being told no is the greatest gift of all.